Please welcome to the program Charleston mayoral candidate John Tecklenburg. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. How you doing, Charlie?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you for being on the program this morning. Look at you sneaking in, grabbing the most votes the other day. What is up with that?
We have the momentum. We feel great. Yes, sir.
You seem to have some momentum. Now, let's go back 30 days ago in your campaign. There was a lot of noise going on between Stavrinakis, Jenny Deeren. They were pretty much dominating the conversation. What did you do to cut through the noise?
Well, we stayed positive, Charlie, and talked about quality of life issues that impact everyday lives of our citizens in Charleston. And my goal is for Charleston to be the number one place to live. You know, we're proud of the fact that we've become such a great tourism destination, but I think along the way that we lost focus a little bit on just those everyday issues like traffic and transportation and drainage and flooding that really need attention for us folks that live here. Well, I stayed positive, been talking about those issues wherever I've been going, connecting with voters, and avoided negativity. I'm a very positive guy. Some people ask, is your glass half full or half empty? Well, I say my glass is overflowing because I'm a positive guy. I believe the best days for Charleston are ahead of us. And if we work together as a community on all these kinds of issues that impact our daily lives, we're just going to make Charleston an even better place to live. I'm looking forward to being a part of that.
All right, let's talk about, let's go back 30 days ago. How did you feel your campaign was going 30 days ago? Were you expecting to be the number one vote getter in this election at that time?
At that time, I felt that we were running a strong campaign in the field, knocking on doors, connecting with voters, and so maybe the public perception might not have been that we were the leader, but we felt like we had a strong campaign going and game plan, and that's proven to be true. It helped for us to get those endorsements from the Charleston Mercury and the Post and Courier, because after spending time with me in interviews, they came to the conclusion to support my candidacy, and I'm very thankful for that. And that did help our momentum, admittedly.
All right, let's talk about some issues affecting Charleston. What about the completion of 526?
Well, I think it's a critical transportation project to complete. There are many aspects to try to improve transportation in our area, and I say that there's no silver bullet to making things better. But if there were a silver bullet, the closest thing to it would be completion of I-526. And there's some challenges right now on the funding side because of the inability of the county of Charleston, not the city, but the county is the local sponsor of the project, along with the State Infrastructure Bank, has never come to a final agreement to move the project forward, and that's a real challenge right now.
Yeah, Chip Limehouse says it's in danger, but it's not quite dead yet. It's still got a breath of life in it.
That's right. So with Chip's help and a lot rests with Senator Leatherman from Florence, and I hope that's going to be resolved in the next coming days. If it's not resolved by the time I become mayor, I'm going to propose that the city become the local sponsor and see if we can't get the thing off dead center and move it forward.
All right. One of the issues that always blows our phones up here on WTMA is when we start talking about this bike lane on the Ashley River Bridge.
Right.
What is your stance on that?
Well, I'm opposed to the closure as it's proposed. The biggest problem has been on the other side of the bridge, the B Street connection, where the exit from the bridge stacks up with folks going to the hospitals in the morning. And there's a construction project in place for that lane to be doubled so that you can take a left turn there at Lockwood. And that's got to be a first step to helping the bridge. I do believe we need a safer way to get across that river for walkers and pedestrians. I live West Ashley.
Right.
And I go across the old Memorial Bridge, and it's like taking your life in your own hands.
Mm-hmm.
I'm open to looking at other alternatives, and as I've been talking to other council members who were on council at the time they took this issue up, I really like the idea of trying to get James Island Expressway back open for walkers and bikers without taking away a lane of traffic.
Right.
And when other folks were out campaigning Monday, I took the time to go to the city's Traffic and Transportation Committee meeting, and they released a study about reopening the James Island Expressway.
Right.
It needs some sharpening. I looked at the budget. I think it's overblown by the adding of increasing the fence on the edge of the bridges really was about 2/3 of the cost.
Yeah, that was like $1.6 million for that alone.
Just for that alone, and that didn't count the percentage increases for engineering contingency. So if you took that out, it might be a reasonable approach. And the reason I like that, Charlie, is because when we get the Mark Clark extension done, the current proposal for the Mark Clark extension includes a bike and pedestrian lane.
Mm-hmm.
So if that when that gets built and it gets to Folly Road, then it would stop if you don't continue the ability to walk and ride your bike across the James Island Expressway. So I think that might be a better solution.
All right, since you live in West Ashley, let me ask you this question. Do you feel like West Ashley has been neglected throughout the years? I mean, there's certainly a different feel when you talk about West Ashley and Charleston proper.
Well, absolutely. It's the redhead stepchild, as they say. And when Mayor Riley took office 40 years ago, I mean, downtown was really dying on the vine, and I appreciate that he concentrated on that. But, in the last 20 years or so, particularly since downtown was revitalized and I helped in that effort, West Ashley really, really needs attention. And that's what I talk about when I say we need strategic economic development, West Ashley. There's certain parts of West Ashley, if you look at those shopping centers along Sam Rittenberg, not just Citadel Mall, but the other ones, they're tired, they're worn out, they need reinvestment. And if the city could invest in the public realm and make Sam Rittenberg a better working avenue and attractive and spruce it up, it will attract the private investment we need in strategic
Let's
areas.
talk about development. Leon Stavrinakis said yesterday on this program that I thought he went a little negative on you as soon as the election was over and the results came in. He says you are a developer and kind of made it sound like you were going to run around, just start building things. There wasn't going to be a bare plot of land in the city of Charleston that you weren't going to try to put something on. How do you react to that?
Well, that's laughable. I'm not a developer. I am a real estate commercial agent, but I don't develop properties myself. I do help businesses who looking for retail space and warehouse space and for their businesses. And so I have a good understanding, Charlie, of the development process.
Right.
And I think that's important for the next mayor because, growth is happening in our city and our region. And what's important is to guide it and do it in a smart fashion and wisely and thoughtfully. I was the guy that showed up at the Planning Commission and the BAR meetings, for example, opposing the Sergeant Jasper development because it was too dense. And I've been calling for a rethinking of the gathering place zonings, which led to that overdevelopment of that site over on Maybank Highway. Meanwhile, Leon collected over $80,000, so it was reported in developer contributions. I mean, he's the one who's been in the pocket of the developers. I have the experience to know about the business and to guide it thoughtfully forward.
All right. Well, Mr. Tecklenburg, we're out of time this morning, but I would love to talk to you again very soon.
Hey, let's do it, Charlie. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir.